Awesome. Hello, welcome, OWASP. I'm sorry that I'm kicking this off and I'm like doing like the first little lightning talk, but my name is Adina Shanholtz, and I can actually make my PowerPoint bigger for you guys to see. And this is actually not the topic of the talk that I'm going to give. Unfortunately, lightning means shorter, but the slides I'm going to use is a subset of this. This is about an hour-long talk where I discuss making virtual and mixed reality environments. I think the next time I'm delivering the talk is in May to the New York Software Engineers Group. So if you're interested in seeing like more in-depth analysis between virtual and mixed reality, feel free to come. So anyway, my name is Adina Shanholtz, and I'm a technical evangelist for Microsoft. And what this means is I'm a developer who speaks to other developers. And I have a couple of topics that I focus on, specifically around immersive media, so virtual, mixed, I guess augmented reality, though I haven't done much with it specifically, but also game development, a little bit with chatbots and AI, and open source. So I would recommend reaching out to me on Twitter. I am the Faye Technologist. I am very friendly and like to respond and like to talk about things. So let's talk about this term, mixed reality. There are 4 types of reality: virtual, augmented, mixed, and actual reality, which is the one that we are currently in. So I have this handy-dandy chart that, puts together the differences between them. So on one side of the spectrum, we have virtual reality, a complete virtual environment, replaces your real reality. And on the other side, we have augmented reality. And as you might recall, like Google Glass and Pokemon Go, those came first. So augmented reality, because they made the space first, doesn't really interact with the physical environment. It's kind of an overlay, a heads-up display. So in Pokemon Go, you're playing and you're trying to catch the Pokemon and they jump, but they're not actually jumping from the ground. They're just kind of placed somewhere on the screen abstractly. That's augmented reality. And somewhere in the middle, there is a blend of when the digital objects interact with the physical world. And that is the HoloLens. There's only one device out for people to actually try, and that is the HoloLens. People go, oh, but wait a minute. Meta or other, pick a technology that doesn't exactly exist, and I say, well, when it's out on the market for me to try, I will have an opinion on it. Until then, the HoloLens is your go-to, and we will break it down. So the HoloLens has 3 different types of input. That is gaze, gesture, and voice. So the HoloLens has a see it, say it type of input, so you should be able to look at anything and say select, and it'll be the same as tapping on it, or doing the tapping gesture, which in this case is from the knuckle down like that. It's like tap. There are a couple of different types of gestures: tap, tap, and hold to manipulate, and then tapping and holding on a specific axis. And we'll see some examples that help to put, I guess, a demo to those concepts. And gaze. Which is, I always love to explain gaze, because when people first try the HoloLens, they go, oh, I can't use my peripheral vision to look at things. And to that I respond, hey audience, isn't this creepy? Because I'm looking at you with my peripheral vision. People don't actually look at people with their peripheral vision. You make eye contact, right? So if I'm looking at the projector, I'm not going to look like that, because that's weird. I'm going to look at it and then select it. So common mistakes that I see when people first try the HoloLens is doing a lot of this, which doesn't make a lot of sense. The HoloLens has to be able to see the fact that you are about to gesture, or tapping, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like touch the hologram, which is incorrect for a lot of reasons. But we are used to a lot of phones and tapping, right? So it's an easy mistake, but it's actually a lot more natural than that. Other things I want to talk about with regard to the HoloLens is spatial sound and spatial mapping. Spatial mapping, this is how the HoloLens can interact with your world. It is constantly taking in input from your world and creating a 3D mesh that holograms, objects made of light and sound, can interact with. Spatial sound, turns out humans are very, very bad at looking above and behind us. If you don't have sound to prompt users of where your objects are in 3D space, you will never look. I made this mistake myself. I was gonna have falling cassette tapes spawning all over in space, in 360 space, and I didn't include a sound effect. And so I went, oh yeah, I made this game, I'm gonna be naturally great at it. And I had no idea that there was like stuff falling behind me and above me. And it was a mess. So spatial sound really saves you in your experiences when you code for this. So let's break down what the HoloLens is. I have one right here, but I have also these really fancy slides that walk through it. So the first things first is it is a self-contained, untethered computer. Everything else that you see out there, even the Vive, which is awesome and does room-scale VR, is tethered to a powerful machine. Or we have things like Google Cardboard or Samsung Gear that are tethered to a phone. This is a fully functional computer running Windows 10. 2, super advanced array of sensors that are constantly taking in terabytes and terabytes of data, crunching and making it into a mesh. 3, transparent lenses, because you know what doesn't work well with light? More light. Holograms are objects made of light and sound, and so when you have a really bright environment, you can't see your holograms. So tinted lenses helps with that. Well, doop, 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 doop. Come on, beautiful slides. Holographic processing unit, a beautiful piece of silica that is designed to crunch the terabytes and terabytes of data input from the array of sensors. And that is the thing that actually makes this a piece of future tech.
Do you have like a GPS sensor inside? Or?
If you want a full array of sensors, there's actually a list of like the specs of this online. Spatial sound. If you notice, these little red things are speakers. And notice, for all of you 3D audio engineers in the room, there are only 2 of them. Instead of, the array of 360 speakers that we usually know and love. And that is because we have 2, count them, 2 ears on our heads. Actually, this works very well. It really helps you tell where it is in 3D space. Ah, yes. It can get bigger. So anyway, hey, I heard that. For all you comedians in the audience. So let's do some demos. You guys want to see this thing in action?
You're going to cue me on the switch.
Ah, right. Do not video my demos. Please, that is all I ask. You can take pictures. Do not record video. Thank you. That repository specifically is on GitHub. So feel free to go and contribute to it. So a lot of the ways that you develop, there are 2 main ways that you develop for HoloLens, and that is through Universal Windows applications and Unity, which I am a game developer, so that came very naturally for me. So if we go to GitHub, I can bring up the repo. So this is the first repo, which is Fruit Warrior. If you are interested, that is the URL. Feel free to take a picture of it. The other one is in another repository, which I will bring up in a second. But it's actually very easily findable. So Galaxy Explorer HoloLens, you'll find the GitHub repo. And I believe something like that, since it's a 3D experience, would have been developed in Unity. So if you use Unity, you can edit the code, contribute to it. That would be really cool to have another TRAPPIST solar system.
Okay, do we have any questions for Adina?
What kind of a processor does the HoloLens have?
The
processor?
Processor. So I'm going to be clear right now. I'm not going to answer any easily Googleable questions for one very particular reason, and that is if I get it wrong, I'm no longer allowed to play with it because I work for Microsoft. And so I don't have a lot of this stuff memorized, like the specific hardware aspects, because that's on the main HoloLens page and it's very easily Googleable. So I'd rather point people to the blog and not misquote it.
Well, I think you did an amazing job giving us a presentation. Did everybody think that she did amazing? She jumped in. Look at this huge crowd here. Thank you so much.